we got to talk about how Lawler was almost an immediate star. He's going to be the tri-state champion by September of 71 within 2 years of debuting. Of course, by the end of his career, which I think we're there now, he's held over 200 titles in his career. What do you think it was about Jerry that endeared him to the fans in this territory so quickly, so easily?
Conrad, when just looking at that picture right there, Jerry looked like a man, if you will, at 22 years of age. Hair on his chest, he had broad shoulders. He didn't have that young, quote unquote, baby face look that some guys do. So when he entered into the business, and the true confidence that came out of him, and this is, again, you can go back and watch some of his early promos when he got with Sam Bass, but he'd been in the business a couple of years of that. But from my father, and look, I'd ask a lot of folks. To this day, I'm still a huge fan of Jerry's career. It's unbelievable. But at the early age, the king was the man. And when I'm 10, 11 years old, or not even that old, King was selling out and making money, and my father's promoter, and obviously he's making money, and just the success that he brought. But in those early days, Jerry, again, going back to his artistic and creative mind, he came out of the womb being able to cut a promo. And so from his very earliest days in the business, he could talk. And that is something that, as time has gone on through the years, it's kind of amazing how that's kind of been left by the wayside from time to time, but how important it is. But, in today's modern era, you look at a MJF or a Sami Zayn, or, okay, if you want a guy who's through the generations, Paul Heyman can talk his ass off. In these early 70s, if you could, quote unquote, just wrestle, then you had for all intents and purposes, a journeyman career. What sets you apart from a mid-card to a main eventer in those days is, can you sell money? Can you sell tickets with your mouth? And Jerry could from day one.
We should also mention that the Observer had this to say. He, Jerry Lawler, became a single star when Booker Jerry Jarrett chose him to be the top heel to feud with veteran headliner Jackie Fargo. In reality, Lawler and Fargo were best friends and remained so, even though Lawler eventually took Fargo's spot as the area's biggest star. What do you think your dad liked so much about Jerry Lawler?
I have heard this come out of my father's mouth so many different times, in referencing when he would talk to me, talk to Billy Travis, talk to others, other talent. I mean, just on and on. Even when Dad got out, he would say something to the effect of, back when me and Lawler, I used to tell Lawler, Lawler used to do just, it's almost like on the compass of Jarrett, career. Lawler was in a lot of ways just such a big part of it. But my dad told me that, again, Fargo, I can't tell you exactly what the age he was in the early 70s, but Fargo had traveled, he had worked in New York. He'd worked the territories and all that. And so Jackie was not a guy that my dad looked at and said, I'm going to build a company around. Jackie had,
he was born in 30. So if we're talking early 70s, he's early 40s.
Okay. So thank you. That gives the point that he looked at Jackie, and Jackie was, I can't say on his last leg, because Jackie drew money into his 60s, easily into his 60s. But so he knew that I needed to develop someone. Well, they had a natural relationship. But again, the business metrics dictated everything. My dad might have loved Jerry Lawler and loved Jackie Fargo. And at this time in 72, 73, Nick Goulas and Roy Welch were the owners of the business. But friends are friends, but business is business. If they didn't sell tickets and put butts in seats, it was all out the window. But when he got Lawler, and a part of the territory, and he was booking for Roy and seeing the numbers, and Jackie could tell a story with his promos like none other and really entertain them and everything that went with that. But Lawler could talk his ass off. And again, talking about a ring general, he made Jackie, and at Jackie's 40s, Lawler worked around him if need be. Jackie could still go to a certain degree, but again, Lawler knew how to make his opponent get over, and he stayed over. And the success just kept growing and kept growing and kept growing. But it goes back to Lawler knew how to talk to people in the building, entertain them, get his ass kicked. And then all of a sudden, Lawler gets his hand raised. Oh, man, I want to come back next week, because next week, if you convince me and give me the right mindset and draw the right picture, damn it, Lawler, this is the week that he's getting his ass whipped. This is the week he's getting his head shaved. This is the week he's losing his title. It was simple, but very, very, very disciplined. You better sell tickets.
I know that some of our listeners are really just familiar with your work in the WWF, WCW, TNA, and AEW. But if we go way back, man, Jackie Fargo, a real influential performer in the wrestling business, to the point where I think a lot of people, when they would see you in the WWF or WCW, I've heard people say this: "Oh, he's stealing Ric Flair's strut."
Yeah.
It was actually a Jackie Fargo strut, was it not?
Absolutely. And again, you touched on Savage, and this is the fun part for me when I really sit here and talk about it and analyze it and hear myself talk. Savage is in the top three. Lawler is the second of the top three. But I think if I have to go back to kind of that OG talent that I just was kind of mesmerized, that I used to think I subconsciously thought, why is this so damn good? And then I learned later, Jackie Fargo had the ability to make you passionately care for him. But before he started selling, he entertained your ass off. The struts, he would kick the heels in the ass and make fun of them. And, just all nowadays they'd be called maybe ha-ha or comedy spots. But in the context of these things, it's like Muhammad Ali warming up for a fight. Fargo would kind of play with his opponent and kind of play the mind games and entertain folks. And in my mind as a little kid, I thought, damn, he's just having fun up there and entertaining us and psyching his opponent out and toying with him. Once he gets going, he's going to kick the shit out of this guy. But man, he's going to entertain us and have fun with him first. And then all of a sudden the heel cheats and Jackie's down selling, and Jackie knew how to sell, and you couldn't wait for him to make the comeback. Jackie, Jerry, and Randy all have brought something different to the table. So yes, those three influenced me the most in my career, and still to this day they do.